G'day guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are talking about the Swiss Bar Pendlay Row. Fantastic exercise for you to definitely give a crack. Why would we do a Pendlay Row in using a Swiss bar? Simply, it gets us into a neutral hand position. So now we're changing up the stimulus in which your rowing pattern is experiencing. So obviously with the barbell, we can do a pronated row, we can do a supinated row. So for those at home, a pronated is over the top, where we're pulling like so, supinated to the bottom, and then obviously with the benefit of the Swiss bar, we can do all our barbell work in a neutral grip position. Okay, so for those who may or may not have seen the Pendlay Row with the barbell, by all means shoot across, have a look at that after this. However, for now, we're going to set up exactly the same way we would with our Pendlay Row. We want to make sure that our shoulders are back and down. So let's talk about our acronym first, and that is stability, tension, execution, and track your performance. So when it comes to doing a row, especially a free rated row with a Swiss bar, barbell, dumbbell, whatever, we need to make sure that firstly we are nice and locked and steady through our legs, and that will transfer up into our upper body, and then we need to be on top of what our upper body is doing. So first things first, let's focus in on our legs. What I want you to do is get up onto your tippy toes and create what we call 3 points of contact. So your first point is 1 and 2 are in line with your big toe and your pinky toe. You should feel that when you're up in plantar flexion or up on your tippy toes. And then if you rock back onto your heels, you're going to feel points 3. Okay, from here we're going to screw our feet in, so we're going to have that weight transfer from point 2, which is in line with your pinky toe, all the way down to point 3. So we're going to make them feel as if they're 2 points that are connected. And then lastly, we're going to make sure that point 1, which is in line with our big toe, that is cemented into the ground. From here, you're going to notice your knees are going to roll out and your glutes are going to come on. Okay, this is a thing called external rotation, and this will protect your lower back. If your glutes aren't on and you're not rotating your knees out, then you're going to feel this row especially through your lower back. So it's important that we have our lower body set up absolutely perfectly, so this load doesn't transfer into our lower back because of the nature of the stop-start, and we'll get into that in a minute. So we're going to screw our feet in, knees are going to be slightly out, we're going to be bent over in this position like so. You will notice that your glutes and your hamstrings are going to be coming alive, your knees are going to be out, and now your lower back is out of the game. It'll take that load away. Now, with every row, or we're going to move into our upper back now, with every row, what the row wants to do is pull you into this position here and round you right off. You can see this systemic effect where if I'm rounded at the top, it's going to flow down into the lower portion of my back, and all of a sudden I'm starting to round and arch to that lower back, which can expose us to injury, and that's not what we want to do. So in order to prevent this happening, what we want to do is make sure that we're pulling back, okay, and then down. Now by doing this, this is what we're going to activate our lats, and it's a big muscle down on the side here. Pull the shoulder blades back and down, and this is where we want to finish. Now a lot of people are going to be going, hey look, in rows we want to stretch out, come forward. That stretching pattern doesn't mean that you're not in this position. And what I mean by that is, well, obviously you're not in this position, but you have tension through those lats. And is a pivotal piece of information that a lot of people skip and overlook is this tension pattern here. So what I mean by this is that a great example is if you use your arm, you come all the way up and you push that arm down, you're going to feel that tension through that bicep, especially at the longest point there, versus if I just let it go lax, if I push it all the way out, you're going to hyperextend and probably feel as if you're going to break your arm or damage your ligaments. Same concept here is that when we reach forward, we want these lats to be what's controlling it and then pulling forward. Now a lot of people don't seem to have that skill set of being able to keep them on whilst reaching forward. So if you don't, that's fine. Just work on keeping that shoulder blades back and down, reach to the point in which that you start to feel them come off, okay, and then row again. Okay, so Pendlay Row. Pendlay Row is off the ground. The reason I call this a Pendlay Row instead of a dead start row is purely because a dead start, I always find we would start in a higher position. A Pendlay will start off the ground always. So that's how I differentiate the two different exercises. Look, I've no doubt they probably intertwine names, but that's what I use. So it is what it is for today. Okay, so we want to screw our feet in, shoulder blades, we're going to pin back and down, and then we're going to roll off the ground. So when we do this, obviously with the neutral grip, we're fortunate enough, especially with this Swiss bar, that you can see that we have a 45 grip. That's probably the one that I would suggest you go with. You could probably go a little wider as well in here, depending on how wide your shoulders are. I have quite narrow shoulders. It's my curse and it sucks. But I will probably come in at the 45. Obviously, I'm talking about a neutral grip, but look, this is probably not too bad to go on. Yeah, look, it is what it is. Okay, so we're going to come in, shoulder blades are going to be pinned back and down. We're going to screw our feet in. Now, obviously, it's a bit bigger than our normal barbell because of the width of the bar. So we're going to make sure that we're aiming for this part here to end up at our hips. Okay, shoulder blades back and down, and we're going to row. Pull, 1. Now, what you're going to find is it's going to load your hamstrings up a little bit. So we're going to make sure that we're just maneuvering just a little bit more. Now you can see that I'm actually a lot further over the top of the bar than I probably normally would be for a deadlift or well, yeah, a deadlift especially. Obviously, it's because we need to row to the hip. We need to get that body forward, and we need to be rowing to the hip. The reason why we want to do that is that if we row to the chest, you can see how bunched up my arm is and how lack of retraction I'm getting. A row is all about retraction, so make sure that we are working by pulling this retraction back and pushing that chest forward. A lot of people will start to try and do this by arching up, and you can see that all they're doing is pivoting off this point and not really getting that retraction. Okay, you see it frequently. So what I want you to think about is taking your chest to your hands. So you're going to pull your shoulder blades back and down, and you're going to be pushing your chest forward whilst bringing your hands back. So push forward, chest back, push forward, chest back. Now, something to be aware of, especially in this position, when we do this, you will see that if I push my chest forward, we arch up and we overextend here, so it makes our stomach vulnerable. So we need to make sure that we block up. And how do we block up? Well, what we're going to do is first we're going to have our feet screwed on, which is going to control our hips. But we're going to think about bringing that top rib here down to our hips. So we're going to be blocking up, rowing through. Okay, so let's go through again. Screw our feet in. We're going to be over the top of the bar a little bit more than we normally would be. Still have our weight and loading up our hamstrings. Glutes are on. Shoulder blades back and down. And we're going to block up. So remember, top rib to our hip. From this position, shoulder blades back and down. Top rib and pull. 1. I'm looking for those hips. 2. 3. Oh. Okay. It's a bit awkward. You'll find your range. You might need to come over the bar a little bit more. You might need to sit back. You might need to have those hips a little higher than say you usually would, but make sure those feet are screwed on. Make sure that load's not going through the lower back. And team, that there is how you want to go about doing your Swiss Bar Pendlay Row.